Sounds like Europe. Cross-border podcasting.
Hello and welcome to Sounds Like Europe, Cross-Border Podcasting, a project brought to you by WePod. I am your host, Javi Caminero. The moment we have been waiting for since September 2023 is finally here. That great project in which many colleagues from all over Europe have been working so hard, WePod's large co-production. To finally be talking about this podcast and for you all to be able to listen to it is a real pleasure, and to be honest, feels kind of surreal because it's like the end is near of the WePod project. The rise of the far right here in Europe is having and will have consequences that can affect people's lives from many different perspectives. One of them is women's bodies and freedom. In The Right Kind of Family, our latest co-production, journalists from 4 of WePod's partners investigate how a far-right network has taken the female body as the epicenter of a cultural and political battle. This co-production is the result of the work of Elsa and Cabria of País in Spain, Lili Rutai of 444 in Hungary, Claudia Torrisi of Europod in Belgium, and Francesca Berardi of Chora in Italy. The documentary has been produced in 7 languages. These are Italian, Spanish, Hungarian, English, French, Dutch, and Polish. The series, like all the ones we have produced from WePod, has 6 episodes. The first one was published on June the 3rd, so you will be able to listen to the whole series from the 8th of July. To find out more about the details of this investigation and the creative process behind this co-production, today I'm joined by 2 of the journalists who have made it possible, Elsa Cabria and Claudia Torrisi. Hello guys, how are you?
Hi, fine.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here in the studio, Elsa, and you're from Italy. Claudia, first of all, I would like you to introduce yourself so people listening to the podcast can get to know you a bit better. Let's start with you, Elsa, for example. How did you start in the world of podcasting? What's your story? Why are you here?
It was the pandemic, indeed. At that point, I had recently arrived from 9 years living in Mexico and Guatemala, in 2 countries where I worked as a journalist. At that point, I felt like I needed to recycle myself. And also, I had been listening to podcasts like Radio Ambulante, for instance, for a long time. And I really liked this idea of learning how to tell stories with sound, like sound chronicles. There was this master degree in podcasting in Valencia, and I had the chance to be selected. And later, when I ended, the person who ran the master would later become my boss at El País Audio.
And what about you, Claudia?
I'm quite new in podcasting, actually. I've been freelancing as a journalist for more than 10 years now. I mean, mostly freelancing, but the biggest part of my experience is with written journalism. Then in 2022, I started collaborating with Europod, working on a show called Europe Talks Back. It was a journalistic show. Then the same year, I wrote, produced, and recorded my first podcast together with a colleague in Italian for Italian National Radio, Radio 3, and it was a 3-episode podcast on an occupied women's shelter, a women refuge. And then in 2024 I went back to Europod and I was totally involved in the WePod project.
Then WePod got the best of both of you to start working on this large co-production. And now the first episodes of The Right Kind of Family, that is when this episode we're recording today is coming out, now those first episodes are out. So how are you guys feeling about your podcast?
Go for it, Claudia.
Okay. Excited, of course, but also a bit anxious, probably. But I have to say that I'm very happy with the work we've done, and I hope the people, the audience, will enjoy listening to this podcast as much as I did working on it. And I don't think I want to say anything more before the whole series is out.
Well, I have been thinking about it. At the end, it's been more than a year in the making, so it's satisfying that The Right Kind of Family has been launched. At the end, it's a podcast with an informative spirit, and hopefully people will learn as much as we have done. Especially because what is happening now with the rise of the stream right has an historical background and that it's not so well known, we think.
Yeah, it's important to know where we come from in order for us to don't go there again.
Right.
Maybe. And how did you decide you wanted to make a documentary about this subject?
Well, Claudia, correct me if I'm wrong, but the framework of the extreme right was quite clear almost from the beginning. The other big topic that it's gender, we have it clear, but we didn't know how at that point, like 1 year ago. But at the end, the four of us are also feminist journalists, and it seems for us very important to give a gender focus to the project. The extreme right denies the idea of gender, so it was like a big point to start because, of course, the four of us believe it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And you have been dealing with doing interviews with people that not only don't think as we all do, but as you as journalists, as women, as people who believe in this gender, they don't think that this is even a problem. They're just going with their ideas without thinking about what they will even break in the process, right?
Totally.
And how was this process for you, Claudia? Deciding the idea and then putting in the work to make it a reality?
I agree with Elsa. The things came along the work, but we kind of started from the same base. I mean, being a feminist journalist. But I remember one WePod meeting in particular in Rome in March 2024, and we already had the topic, but the whole WePod team were exchanging ideas, and I was just arrived in the WePod project, and I remember that talking and discussing, we realized that there was a lot to say about this topic that touched everyone in different way, and that the family itself was a concept with different shades, different nuances, and that it was probably kind of exploited from the far right, from the right wing during the years. So it was yes, I remember that moment in particular when the whole team said, okay, maybe we can explore the concept of feminine and how it was used by the far right, and what is the meaning now of this concept.
When I listened to the first episodes, I could feel like the bond you have created, and I have also seen you work together when we were in Milan back in March. You have done many travels throughout Europe. Claudia just mentioned when you were in Rome last year. What has it been like to work together for so long? How did you organize, for example, when it came to writing the scripts?
Well, the first question, I think the trips has been very important for the four of us to make a better work. At the end, being able to know each other, to know how we are, how do we work, it's very important. The first conversations were mainly by phone calls, video calls, whatever. But when we started to go somewhere and work together and see our approach to journalism, we could have like this connection between the four of us. Maybe then we go to the second question. I don't know.
If you want, you can go on.
Okay. The another point about the script, you can say what you think, Claudia, about it, but I think Alex has been crucial because he has this Italian-German mind that is very curious.
Very organized.
Yeah, and at the end, also very, okay, go for it, and we can change it. And he has been working, Alex Rutai, as the coordinator of the project, so he proposed that maybe could work that each reporter lead an episode in the writing in her mother tongue. So then she can have their ideas very clear, and then with DeepL, the artificial intelligence app, translate it to English. Then, like, I don't know how many people was involved at that point, like 12, 15 people edit, and then go back to the original,
language.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, more or less. But Claudia, add something, please.
No, yes. And to answer to your question, it was, of course, very good to have such a long time to work on the topic, to organize ideas, to go in the places, to exchange ideas. It was good to have different also backgrounds, opinions, and views. I think this is the strength of this project, of this series. And yes, the script writing process was a bit challenging, and thanks to the German-Italian mind, it went like Elsa just described, and basically we tried different things, and then we managed to have this way to do things, to have at the end a sort of reference script, a reference draft that then we use to go with the national adaptations, both in first person narrative and the others. And I have to say, it was my first time being in such a large team and with so many people focused on the same script. Yeah. But apparently we did it.
I think you made it. And what did you learn in each of those trips that you took? I mean, you're 4 different people from 4 different backgrounds, as you said before. You went to Burgos here in some parts of the first episode, if I'm not mistaken. Then you went to Rome. You went to Hungary. What did you learn on those trips?
Well, in my case, I think I have learned a lot about manipulating. I mean, not only because governments like the Hungarian one or the Italian one have a far right in the power, but in the case of Spain, Vox is trying so hard. And as a woman expert told me, at the end, at this point of the story of the humanity, far right has won the story battle. They have won it. So, yeah, manipulating has been probably the main word that I can have in mind. And in the case of Hungary, I learned a lot about manipulating the objective of family policies, I think. Yeah. And in Italy, I think how to twist the law to prevent women to abort. It's very hard to listen to, not only to women who have been in this kind of horrible process that a government denies their right, but also the experts. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we are masters on this topic. I agree with Elsa, and I have to say that I understand something. I learned something in each trip, of course. Probably the trip in Hungary was the most instructive from my side, because I managed to understand a bit better how the population of Hungary feel with the Orban government. I've been following Hungarian politics for a while in the news, and this aspect was missing. And this is another, I think, strength of this project, because we had the chance to see places through the eyes of local reporters. So it was very, very interesting. And then, of course, there is the fact that we are talking about the same topic, family policies, right to our bodies, etc. But it was interesting to see how each country has its own history and its own perspective, and how these things change from one place to another.
And what were your main goals when you started to investigate and to make this documentary? What did you think about when you said, okay, I want listeners to learn this from listening to me?
At least the same as I have learned, I think. Okay. Because, we have this big topic for right, but I didn't know many things that I have learned now. So probably, that was my main point, because I didn't have like many arguments to point out my point of view. And when I say far right is a problem, now yes, I have it. So this was maybe my main goal, I think.
Mm-hmm.
From my side, I have been reporting on some of these topics for a while, so I think probably the main goal was to connect the dots and really understanding what is happening, having a bigger picture, and also understanding what's behind this obsession with family.
Mm-hmm. And the rise of these far right-wing organizations and even politics that are going into the power in some countries, and here in Spain it seems like a matter of time, to be honest, is something that concerns all of us. But now that you have been working for a long time on this topic, I'm asking you about your personal opinion. Like, what are your main conclusions? What can we do as a society to try to, I don't know if stop is a big word, but at least to prevent them from affecting so much in our lives?
Yeah, I think stop is a big word, because with this idea of winning the story battle, it's very difficult, because even people who describe themselves as left-wing people say some things that are totally linked with the speech of the far right nowadays. So it's very hard to stop. And I don't know if we can prevent anything, but I think maybe only learn is the point that I say before. If people get well informed at the end of all the series, I will feel like happy, and
let's be optimistic.
That's a big goal. Yeah.
And what about you, Claudia? What do you think?
I think I can only say something from a journalistic point of view, of course, so about what can we do. So I would say that what media can do is calling things with their names. I remember when Meloni got in power in 2022, Italian media struggled to call her government and their party far right, and at the same time foreign outlets were saying that it was clearly far right. So I think the first duty of media when it comes of such radicalized forces is calling them for what they are and not normalizing them. The far right is on the rise. It is in power. It is in power in many places across Europe and across the world, I would say. But I think that media gave them a big hand and helped them going mainstream. So this is my take on this.
Yeah, I think it's like not to be pessimistic or to punish ourselves, but media has played a very important role, as you just said, on normalizing them. One thing is having them in power, because democracy and people work as we don't even know sometimes, but other very different thing is normalizing them and treating them as if their thoughts were the ones from a normal political party, which in many cases, as you have studied here in your podcast, they are not. Before we end the episode, guys, I would like to ask you a couple more questions. These are two questions I don't know if you came prepared for, because mainly I didn't tell you about until now, but I want to know about your listening habits, okay? I want to know first, let's start with Elsa maybe. What's your favorite podcast right now?
Wow. I have to check a bit, because I listen few. And
quite a bit, right?
The last one has been that I have been listening, and I liked it a lot. I'm checking my mobile phone. Sorry. Well, I was obsessed with Pack One Back, talking about it. And also precisely one boss of us recommended us recently one. It's a video podcast called Fashion Neuroses. It's a granddaughter from Freud, which is expert in design and fashion, and she interviewed people about clothes, what mean clothes, and it's very, very well recorded. The image is super cool, well done, and the interviews are really interesting. Yeah.
I think it's the first time that in one of these questions someone recommends a video podcast. So
Okay.
we have a milestone here. And Claudia, what about you?
It's difficult for me to say what's my favorite podcast because I hate questions like what's your favorite blah blah blah. I don't have one, but I can. No, it's my fault.
Agree.
But I can tell you one of the latest podcasts I listened to and I liked it. It was Tortoise Investigation podcast. It is called Lucky Boy. It is an investigation of. About case of abuses on minors on 14 years old back in the 80s, and I think it was very well written, and also I really enjoyed it, so I recommend it.
And when's your favorite moment to listen to podcasts?
In my case, when I'm in the subway,
Okay.
because I have this long trip each day to go to my job. So it's like 40 minutes and it's a good moment.
And Claudia?
Same, more or less. I mean, I'm a freelancer, so I don't do a lot of commuting, but I usually listen to podcasts walking to reach places, for example, or on public transport.
Okay, so it's like the classic questions keep coming.
Thank you, Javi.
Elsa Cabria, journalist in El País Audio, and Claudia Torrisi from Europod. Thanks a lot for your time and good luck with The Right Kind of Family. I'm really looking forward to listening to the whole series, which I haven't been able to do yet, but I'm sure it will be a huge success as your work has been proving it for the past almost more than a year. So yeah, like the large co-production of the WePod project, I think will be up to the task.
Thank you, Javi.
Thank you.
And to everyone listening to this interview, I've been your host, Javi Caminero. Please go listen to The Right Kind of Family, now available in all platforms, and let us know what you think about the large co-production of the WePod project. I will be back in 2 weeks with a new episode of Sounds Like Europe. Adios.
Sounds Like Europe, Cross-Border Podcasting is a WePod podcast funded by the Creative Europe programme. Hosted and written by Javi Caminero, sound design by Manu Tomillo, coordinator Alexander Damiano Ricci, executive producer Anna Ribera.